property of water, that is, it is volatile, can evaporate on heating, especially at its boiling point. The evaporation becomes maximum. And the physical property of salts, that they are non-volatile. This physical property is employed when we are doing simple distillation in the laboratory. For example, if you remember, I'm recalling you, if you want to distill salt solution, you take in the laboratory a round bottom flask in which you add the salt solution, and to it you connect a condenser, not a fractionating column. So we are not separating liquids of different boiling points. When you heat it, the water which is a volatile liquid in the solution, volatile means easy to evaporate on heating, will evaporate from the solution of salt and then will enter the condenser where it is condensed and collected as distillate. And that is called distilled water, named after the process. And the salt will be left behind in the round bottom flask. I have repeated simple distillation. Now this process is done on large scale to desalinate seawater if it carries too much of salt or brackish water. The process is, the ways we can do is, number one, desalination by distillation. I read it out very clearly. This process takes advantage of the fact that water is a volatile substance, whereas salts are non-volatile. Solar energy is used. Now the whole process is like that the seawater is put in large pans, and on the top of them, there are sheets, roofing them, and the sun heat is reaching the seawater in pans, and it evaporates. And when it evaporates, it touches the cool surface of the sheets or roofs, which are made of any material, and condenses, and through pipes or whatever mechanism they adopt, the water carrying less salt is collected, because it becomes not completely distilled, because complete distilled water is poisonous, because it's not useful for health. It should carry some mineral salts. So a controlled amount of distillation is done with the help of sunlight. More sophisticated and more expensive method of distillation for water to become less brackish or less saltish is flash distillation. It involves, remove D, it involves, the spelling mistake little, it involves distillation under reduced pressure. And you know, when the pressure is reduced, the water evaporates at much below its boiling point. This method is expensive, but it's very fast and efficient, especially in rich countries like Kuwait and other countries, where the water is desalinated with the help of flash distillation, where reduced pressure is put on water, and that requires energy, because pressure monitoring is an expensive process. The third and simple method is freezing the salt of brackish water. When you do that, all the dissolved, DIS, please, spelling mistake, all the dissolved solids are frozen out. And this technique is restricted with where the weather is very cold, or the climates are very cold, sorry. So my dear students, I have given you a very brief outline of the process of desalination, but more than sufficient. First, you should know the definition of desalination, which is to remove dissolved salts from water by a process of distillation, simple distillation, or with using sunlight, flash distillation, or we can use another method, which is freezing the salt water so the dissolved salts get frozen out. Now I'll invite students to ask questions related to first two questions which I've explained. Please raise your hand if you have a question on the two questions which I have explained, frequently appearing in the exam, before I move to the last question, that is question number 3, which is very lengthy. Yes, Muhyiddin Khan, you have a question, please Be
Miss,
loud
what
and
is
clear. And
volatile?
yes. Assalamu
What is
alaikum.
volatile?
Yes,
Walaikum
please.
assalam. What is volatile?
Volatile, बेटा गौर से सुने. Volatile का मतलब है, volatile means those liquids which can easily evaporate at a lower temperature. Liquids which can, such as water, is volatile. It evaporates at all temperature, but increases to evaporate when the temperature is increased. Ethanol is volatile. Have you understood, Modin?
Yes, miss.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Anyone else has a question on the two questions which I've explained? They are very important. They are like your notes. You can read from the textbook. And questions repeatedly have come in the exam theory paper on it. What do you mean by desalination? 2 marks. Outline what are the two important steps in purification of water for domestic purposes, that is filtration and chlorination. Why charcoal is added to water? Such questions are added in the exam. So it's basically a theoretical aspect. I hope you will be clear with my notes as well. So my dear student, now I come to question number 3, which is the last question of today's discussion. And then I'll do some MCQs with you and give you 5 minutes break, leave you early. Question number 3 is extremely important. Since we know that, again, I hope my dear Musa is also here. Water is a very good solvent. It dissolves a little bit of everything in it, harmful and harmless. But by this behavior of water, it gets polluted. You know what is pollution? Undesirable substances when is added to atmosphere or water by human activities. The main pollution in water is classified under the heading of eutrophication. Spelling is correct and E is silent. Eutrophication. So I have put it in the form of a question. What do you mean by the process eutrophication? What are its causes or factors and effects? So this is a question which carries 3 important areas to be discussed. Sometimes a question can come on any one area. Depending on the marks allocated to the question, you will answer accordingly. My dear students, I'm a teacher of definitions, and that is what is I'm very happy about myself, because that is fundamental chemistry. And that is the concepts which you carry ahead in A level and higher classes, which should be clear in O level. So young friends, the definition of eutrophication is, because the main factor which causes eutrophication are the fertilizers, especially the nitrates. So eutrophication is unintentional enrichment. I hope that you all know the meaning of the word enrichment. एनरिचमेंट का मैं उर्दू में मतलब बताती हूँ, जब बहुत ज्यादा कोई चीज आ जाए आपके पास. उर्दू में इसका लफ्जी मतलब है गनी होना. ही इज एन एनरिच बॉय. अमीर नहीं है, but he has got such big heart that is full of money. That is, we use it in moral science. But in your science, we use enrichment means when you become in excess. So when unintentional, please, it is R is removed, not international. Unintentional spelling, INTENTION. No, the spelling, whole spelling is incorrect. I'm correcting the spelling. Please wait for 1 minute. UNINTENTIONAL. So remove this A in between. Unintentional enrichment, that is when you don't want to make water rich with what? Yeah. Unintentional enrichment of water with fertilizers. And how does fertilizers reach there? They're so expensive. Fertilizers which are leached from the soil as water passes the nearby farmlands. For example, there are some farmlands near water bodies like lakes, rivers, seas. not seas, but rivers, sometimes lakes usually. What happens when it rains? The fertilizers in the soil are leached out, and they, along with the water, they reaches the water bodies. These fertilizers cause, now these fertilizers, when they reach the water bodies, they cause excessive growth of tiny surface plants called algae on water bodies. So my dear student, now the question arises in your mind, because many of you are still not clear with the definition. The main water pollution is caused by eutrophication. And the main factor causing eutrophication in water are the fertilizers, other than other factors which I'm going to discuss. How does these fertilizers reach the water bodies? If there's a farmland nearby the water body, and the farmer has given fertilizers to the farm, especially nitrates, you know, the fertilizers are salts, usually inorganic, sometimes organic. When the farmlands are full of water, or when there's rainfall, whatever, these fertilizers leach out, that is, come out of the soil and reaches these water bodies. There they, you know, the main plant of water is algae. Algae is a microscopic plant, not an animal, my dear. Biology students know, non-biology, I'm telling you. आपने देखा होगा हरे रंग की काई जम जाती है आप जब ट्रैवल करते हो किसी दूसरी शहर, तो रास्ते में आपको छोटे छोटे पॉन्ड्स, लेक्स नजर आते हैं, ग्रीन हुए होते हैं ऊपर से. That's algae. So these algae get fertilizers free of cost, and they grow excessively on the surface of the water bodies. So one factor for causing eutrophication is fertilizers. The second factor is sewage water. You know, sometimes sewage water finally is drained from the cities' store areas to the water bodies like rivers, nearby rivers or canals or lakes. Third factor is discharge of factories in water bodies, such as, what are the discharge? Which factory throw it in the water bodies through pipe areas or whatever way they adopt? Are detergents, chemicals which can pollute rivers and seas. And this excessive and the excessive growth of this all will help in the excessive growth of algae. MCQ, which of the following factor does not cause algae growth on water bodies? Number 1, fertilizers. Number 2, sewage water. Number 3, plastic bags. Number 4, discharge of factories. Obviously, plastic bag. It does not cause eutrophication. So remember the 3 main factors which cause eutrophication, which is excessive growth of algae on water bodies. The 3 factors are, the main factors are the unintentional making the water bodies rich with fertilizers. Second is sewage water. And third is the discharge of factories, which include, young friends, detergents, chemicals, which can pollute rivers and seas, which are water bodies. Now, young friend, the third part of the question was, what are the effects of eutrophication? Now, here I have very briefly and accurately accounted the effects. The excessive growth of algae on the surface of water bodies called, the excessive growth of algae on the surface of water bodies, and this is called algal bloom. Okay. Algal bloom is a term specifically employed, and all of you must have seen while traveling on, going from one city to the other, intercity traveling, when rivers come in your way, or sometimes lakes, or sometimes ponds, you see the excessive green sheet over it. That's algal bloom. Can remove. Now, what does this algal bloom do? Algal bloom can remove dissolved oxygen. You know that oxygen is dissolved in water bodies for the aquatic life. Can remove dissolved oxygen from water and prevents light from entering the water, because it forms a covering over water, which is harmful for aquatic life and cause their death. Because dissolved oxygen is excessively used by these tiny plants as they are grown in excess. About 30% air dissolved in water is oxygen, more than the atmospheric oxygen, which is only 21%. We have discussed that earlier when we discussed composition of air. So it removes it, use it, and also forms a covering over the water body so the sunlight can't reach the water bodies. So the aquatic life which need sunlight and oxygen, they may get, it may cause their death, sorry. Then I have given you a very important thing. Large amount of this algae cause river to become deoxygenated. I've explained you how. When this happens, the bacteria which can grow in, or which can survive or thrive in oxygen-free conditions, called anaerobic bacteria, can attack the decaying vegetation and plants and animals in the water bodies, and can release toxic substances in water like ammonia, methane, and hydrogen sulfide gases, and further pollute the water. So young friends, I hope you have got a very clear idea about eutrophication now. You must be knowing it. It's a very common phenomena, and science students have studied it earlier. Other than that, there are many other reasons for water get polluted. And since it's not a part of your syllabus too much, so I have only gone with concepts. The main cause of pollution of water is eutrophication. So I'm inviting you, if anyone wants to ask any question related to eutrophication, please, you can raise your hand. I'm there to repeat. All of you are here. So only 50% students are, or less than 50% are attending today's class. That's their choice. My choice is to do the best for you all. So Bilal, you have a question, please, you can ask me.
Assalamu alaikum, miss.
Assalamu alaikum, please.
Yes, miss, I wanted to ask what was chlorination?
What's chlorination?
Yes,
Beta,
miss.
addition of chlorine. No, chlorine is a gas and is slightly soluble in water. When it is added in very small amount, parts per million, I'm not giving you the exact figure. When it is added to water, also in your swimming pools, you must have seen the smell of chlorine if you have ever swimmed. When it's added to water, it has two effects. One, it is acidic gas, so it should be added in very less amount. And number two, it's germicidal. That is, it kills germs. Clear, Milan?
Yes, miss. Thank you.
Bacteria. You are welcome, my dear. So, young friends, I have done with section 10 also, air and water. If you are my real good students and you are real good children of your parents and doing justice to them, and also justice to the admin and to the owners of school and me, we are all working hard. At the end, when you will download my notes, points to remember, I think if you're fair-minded, whether you have studied or not along with me, I do not know, because the China wall of technology is between us. That's why I don't like teaching online, but otherwise teaching online is a comfort, one-to-one. But the China wall is there. So I do assume that you will make these notes a part of your syllabus, very important for the O-level exam, or you will download them and have a hard copy so that you feel more near to them, or maybe whatever your choice is, but don't waste them until you take your O-level exam. This is not that I have done something great, but it's very important, short and smart. And on Monday when we do the class, and we'll, as I've given you the homework in GCR to go through the past papers, you will realize their importance and their effectiveness. So young friends, I have done with section 9 and 10, air and water and metals. We are left with section 11, organic chemistry only, and revision from section 1 to 8, which is more than important. Let's see what we planned when we meet again in life or behind the technology after. I think you all must have been informed or got some idea that maybe we get a break from 15th of July, or I don't know for how many days or weeks, I don't know. But I do have an idea that coming Monday is my this session last online class with you all, which is very important. So all of you please attend with free mind and with positive mind. My dear students, now we have left with few minutes. I'll be giving you 10 minutes off today because I have to go somewhere and I'll inform the admin. So I have about 20 minutes. So I'll ask you some MCQs. So please sit alert. I'll repeat the MCQs. They are spontaneous. I'm not reading from anywhere. Or maybe I read from somewhere, but they do that on Monday. These are my spontaneous MCQs. So get ready and listen. The information of MCQ number 1 is, I'm giving you the information. Charcoal is added to water. Choice A, to remove salts. Choice B, to remove any undesirable taste and odor. Choice C, to remove undesirable taste and sodium chloride. Choice D, to remove oxygen, dissolved oxygen. I think students who are alert have listened and have made the choice. Raise your hand if you have an answer. Yes, Aman?
Miss, it is
No,
choice.
Aman has raised first, so I'll ask him.
Miss, it is
Yes,
choice
Aman, what is
B.
the answer?
To remove smell and odor.
Very good. Whatever the choice. Now my question number 2. Look, these are spontaneous questions coming in my mind and they may appear, inshallah, if God is happy with me in your 2021 exam. Question number 2. Just relax and listen carefully. That's your job. And whether you want to answer or not, raise your hand. So please, rest of you, don't get paranoid. Stay in the room until I say log out. Question number 2, my young friends. Sulfur dioxide is harmful gas as it is present in A, distilled water, B, acid rain, C, river water, and D, in the laboratory. That was a funny choice. So please raise your hand. Yes, Muhammad Sami.
Miss acid rain.
Excellent. Very good. I mean, the choices, other choices, I'm just making them spontaneously, so don't be bothered. You should be bothered with the right choice. Very good, Muhammad Sami. Now, the third question is nitrogen oxide is formed in the exhaust gases of the vehicles. Nitrogen oxide gas is formed in the exhaust of the vehicles by number A, combustion of petrol, B, due to high heat in the internal combustion engine when oxygen and nitrogen of the air combines, C, when nitrogen reacts with the petrol, D, when oxygen reacts with the petrol. Yes, raise your hand. Ali Asad. Yes, Ali Asad.
Miss, when nitrogen reacts with oxygen due to the high temperature.
Very good. This is a theory question also. And students think that the nitrogen, oxide of nitrogen is formed by the combustion of petrol. No. When air goes in due to high temperature in internal combustion engine, the nitrogen gas bonds are broken down and they react with the oxygen to form NO. Reaction is, just to revise, 2NO, N2 plus O2 give us NO. put 2 front of to NO. It's balanced now. Now my next question is a theory question. Let's see who answers. Repeatedly has come in the exam. Give me 2 effects, negative effects of the depletion of ozone layer in the, you know how ozone layer in the upper atmosphere is depleted. So give me 2 negative effects of depletion of ozone layer. Yes, Muhammad Sami? Yes, Muhammad Sami, you can answer. You want to answer? No? Anyone that wants to give me the 2 negative effects of when ozone layer? Yes, Muhammad Sami, you are raising your hand. No? I can't hear you, Muhammad Sami, if you are answering. Yes, Bilal Ahmed.
me-
Yes. बेटा 2 negative effect हम पे जो पड़ते हैं of depletion of ozone layer in the upper atmosphere.
melting of ice caps.
Melting of ice bag, global warming हो जाती है.
Caps.
नहीं, वो तो ग्लोबल वार्मिंग के है ना जी. जब ओजोन लेयर डिप्लीट होता है तो अल्ट्रावायलेट रेडिएशन नीचे पहुंचती है. उनके 2 नेगेटिव इफेक्ट बताइए if you have not understood the question.
Miss,
Skin diseases.
Yes, Bilal.
Skin diseases.
No, skin diseases, cataracts, please you can write it. Eye diseases like cataracts, skin cancer, and respiratory tract infections because it causes smog. 3 main effects. The ultraviolet radiation may cause cataracts. बेटा cataracts कितना common है? आंखों की बीमारी है. You have to replace your lens. Then skin diseases like skin cancer, damage to plants and crops, ultraviolet radiation mixes with the fog and causes smog and respiratory tract infections. Young friends, now I have to go somewhere. I'll also inform my my admin that I have taken. I'm giving you off 10 or 15 minutes. So have a nice Friday. Inshallah, I'll see you on Monday on time and full for 1 hour.